Good evening and welcome to tonight's Caithness Amateur Dramantics Society tasting. And tonight we're going to try a couple of whiskies from the Elixir Distilling Company, uh, Port Askaig. First of all, the Port Askaig 12-year-old Autumn Edition at 45.8%. And then the second Portascaig 100 proof at 57.1%. Just a short introduction to Port Askaig. Uh, Port Askaig is a collection of Islay single malt whiskies independently bottled by Elixir distillers. It comes from a whisky island off Scotland's west coast, and it's named after a quiet harbour on Islay. It shows the region's sea character and peaty taste. Port Askaig offers different types, each showing Islay whisky's variety. The ages vary, each showing a different aspect of Islay flavours. They range from light and fresh to deep and complex. And Port Askaig is really for all whisky fans, from beginners to experts. And it's a unique range because it's not from one distillery. It's a selection of single malts from various Islay distilleries, which lets them choose whiskies that represent the Islay style. Each type keeps a bit of mystery, which appeals to those who like exploring whisky. The whiskies are usually unchill filtered and natural in colour, which keeps their true flavours. And Port Askaig sometimes has cask strength editions, which are popular for their strong and rich taste. They offer an unfiltered whisky experience. A typical expression from the range has aromas like sea air and Islay peat smoke, and the taste has peat and sea qualities with sweet malt, fruits and flowers, and the finish long and warm with smoky and sweet notes. Port Askaig is known for quality and special releases. These include older whiskies and ones that are finished in unique casks, and it adds a new twist to the Islay style. So, first up is the Port Askaig 12-year-old Autumn Edition, and it's a limited edition 12-year-old single malt, a combination of 9 refill American oak hogsheads, 5 Oloroso sherry butts, and 3 Solora cherry butts. It's bottled in 2020. As Port Askaig is very close to Coolida distillery, it's almost certainly that this was the original source for this whisky. So let's see what we have here. So it's really a vatted malt, I would say, and it has lovely tears. Been watered down to 45.8%. 12-year-old, non-chill filtered and natural colour. Let's see where the nose takes us. It's quite funky and musty, almost Campbelltownish in the nose. And then you get the peaty smoke, the salinity, and that sea breeze. It's quite nutty, and you get the floor off of the sherry butts and sticky toffee pudding and dried figs. It's rather elegant. Camphor and an embering campfire. Smoky bacon and moist leafy notes. There's a light sourness of cranberries with a darker, sweeter fruitiness underlying it. Warm leather, roasted chestnuts, and coffee beans. And there's hints of cigar boxes and light gunpowder notes. It's not a sherry bomb per se, but everything is there in a well balanced composition. Slight smoke, ashiness, red fruit, seashells, and again the cranberries and the smoky bacon, black cherries, and then the sherry influence, the Christmas pudding fills the nose. We'll try some, try it on the mouth. It's funky on the palate, uh, peaty, earthy, turfy. You get mushrooms and dried fruits, Christmas pudding and Brazil nuts. And it's like dried seaweed with a fresh lemony and coastal note. And then you pick up the warmth and the autumnal character. This is the autumn edition of 2020. And there's leathery notes and tobacco and some blackberries and oak spice. And there's a toasted note. You get the smoke, it's metallic, and there's a brief bubblegum, Bazooka Joe there, and cork, and then red grapes and smoldering driftwood, and again the dry seaweed, cherry tomatoes and hawthorn berries, and again back to the nose, and you get that funkiness again, and the peaty smoke, and that serenity in the sea breeze, and that late Christmassy element, the dried figs and the sticky toffee pudding. And it's so funky on the palate. And the finish is long and peaty and musty, with a smouldering damp wood and a fruity kind of sherry influence, and maritime smoke. Uh, Peaty, musty, smouldering damp wood. I'm going to try 5 drops of water in this. the lovely Scotch mist again. Let's see. It's turned ashy with burnt wood, and the phenols are ramped up a bit here with the water. There's more honey though, and some earthy feel. It's powerful but delicate. With water, the peat is the master, but that turns to citrus very quickly, giving the nose a fresh and salty sensation. Blood oranges and cherries. It's very inviting, this nose. We'll try them out. And it's salt and ashes with smoke and dry yet sweet peat. And you get the feel of stones being present, like having a dram from a cup made of rock, oily and sweet. And with water, the barbecue part explodes. Smoked grilled meat, fresh grilled ribs, and in addition, it's salty. And always I find if you add water to a coastal whiskey, I find the salt ramps up with water. But there's strong notes of ripe breadfruit, and it's slightly spicy. And the finish is ashy and smoky in turf with the wee lemon drops there too. It's medium long, quite sweet, with ripe cherries, vanilla, slightly peaty, and it's like a wet forest floor. I find this to be highly drinkable. It's a nicely sherry version of Port Askaig, which basically ticks all the boxes for an elegant fireside whiskey. And I must say, I'm a Kulia fan, and the 12-year-old is very pleasing for me. But I think I like this Port Askaig a bit better. The sherry butts come through well and harmonise beautifully with the smoke. So we'll cleanse your palate. Tonight I'm using, I'm still on Mackenzie's biscuits from Cumminston in Aberdeenshire. I find them really good because they don't have any spice or chili in them, so they really cleanse the palate very well. So now we're moving on to the second whiskey from Port Askaig, and this is the Port Askaig 100 proof at 57.1% ABV. I've always got a few bottles of Kalita on the shelf, And I find Kulira works pretty well in pretty much any cast type. Some are better than others, but I can't remember having a really bad Kulira. Uh, all we know for certain from the label of this, it's a non-age statement, either single malt presented at 100 proof or 57.1% ABV as we know it today. It's non-chill filtered and natural colour, and although it isn't stated, it's an open secret that it is more than likely Kulira. And if you add to the fact that Port Askaig is only several hundred metres from Kulira as the crow flies, and you have a pretty compelling picture there. Even when you don't have an idea where a secret island malt is from, it is often a fair guess that it will be from Kulira Distillery, which has been supplying the independent butlers much more than any other distillery on Islay. Although there are exceptions. In the USA, you'll see this on the shelf as Port Askaig 110 proof, which, due to the differences in our proof calculations, is 55% ABV. So finally, we get a whiskey this side of the pond at a higher strength than our American friends do. So let's see where we are with this one. It's very, very light in colour, very pale. Fantastic tears in it though. Oh, fantastic tears. Church windows all the way with this one. And on the nose, oh, maple smoked bacon immediately. It's meaty. There's also warm pebble beaches, brine, coal tar, and a light touch of rubber, along with a very light campfire smoke and slight first aid kits. A little hint of Germany, sort of antiseptic cream, murray mints, and vanilla. And then the Kulida, the orchard fruit, the peaches, pears, dried apples, and smoke. It's a malty sweetness, vanilla, honey, minerality, and a touch of plastic. It's young, it's crisp, and it's bracing. And the slightly spirity aroma, it just makes me think Kulida. We'll try on the mouth. It's very ashy. It's like the grey white spent remnants from a bonfire have been scooped up and emptied into your mouth, but in a good way. I know it doesn't sound good, but it's a powerful ashen smoke that I really like. And there's a nice, a lovely actually, icing sugar sweetness which complements it, followed by the charred rather, savoury meats and licorice, zesty lemon. and a slight peppery spice. It's rather herbal and mineral too, and I get that Pebble Beach vibe again. Minerality, smoke, dried fruit, lemon peels, sponge cake, vanilla sponge cake, and some malty sweetness with a bit of spice. And like the aroma, there is a spirity nature to it, but it works well here. It's a punchy, sharp whiskey. Right, we're trying to finish. It lingers on the finish. There's more ashiness, soot, licorice, and slight salt, but it's all balanced by a lovely creaminess of vanilla that develops amongst the smoke. Long smoke, honey, spice, and minerality. I'm going to try 5 drops of water in this. Oh, wonderful scotch, mister. Oh, that's nice. Let's see what it almost tastes like. It's a phenolic campfire peat smoke with ash, and I think the water brings out more of the maritime notes. But there's also citrus and malty sweetness, smoky, but there's a greasiness there, a slight oiliness, a bit of spice. It's obviously been quite a heavily peated malt, mineral and salty. And now you get the fishiness, the smoked fish, the green olives, light citrus notes, um, a bit of grassiness emerges there too. We'll try that as well. And now there's peat smoke with malty sweetness, maritime notes, citrus and honey. It's a very strong marzipan, almond, crispy and malty, mineral, very peaty and smoky, and the saltiness that all this line with coastal maritime whiskies that water ramps up the salt and tends to increase the peat as well. And again, it's a long finish with peat smoke, ash, maritime notes, citrus fruits, honey, and a slight sweetness and malty sweetness, and a slight spiciness as well. With water to finish, it becomes rather dry, but it remains very direct and heavy. With capers and anchovies, water brings out more of a maritime fishiness to this whiskey. So, the Port Askaig 100 proof 57.1% ABV. It's an excellent prospect for anyone looking for a big whack of peat with some quality to it. It drinks well at full strength, and a drop of water doesn't harm it either. It changes it, but it doesn't harm it. It's a very light coloured whiskey, which suggests it must be all ex bourbon calves, and inactive ones at that. But in this instance, that's not a bad thing, because the spirit is excellent. I sincerely hope that we continue to see this on our shelves at a reasonable price, without having to put up with Diageo's 43% chill filtered presentation of Cuda. This is around the same price as a 12-year-old, and for me, it's a much better example of what the distillery can produce. Thanks for listening.